Okay,
Hi
there we go.
there, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Seyid, an independent journalist based in Canada. I'm launching my international show called World Talent. I'm so glad today that I'm going to Australia to meet an excellent writer and a great author writing about very specific literary form that you are going to see later on. Hi, great author, Mr. Dan Monty. How do you like to present yourself to the world today? Where are you exactly now, please?
I'm in Melbourne, Australia.
Okay. What is your time now?
It's 12:54 p.m.
Oh, 12:54. Oh, so you are running late. That's how the authors are doing. They are waking up the whole night for creativity.
Yeah.
So
It's
it's
usually
still a little earlier in my time here in Canada. We have like 5 minutes to 10, 22 hours. A little bit earlier, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Is the
all
weather
right. Yes, tell me, please.
is the weather good there?
Yeah, we are enjoying not the same places. Some places are already starting getting a little cold, and some places are chilly. But in Quebec area and Montreal, it's a little raining, and we are enjoying the last, you can say, sunny days of this beautiful summer.
Yeah. Oh, that
Yours?
sounds nice.
Yours?
Well, we're in winter,
Uh,
spring.
Oh, spring. Okay, great. So still raining, still nice. Okay, still going
Yeah.
out. Okay, that's great. That's great. Thank you so much for this. Okay, how do you like to introduce yourself to the world, Mr. Dan, please?
Well, my name's Dan Monty, and I'm an Australian author. I've written several books in the past. Most of them were published underground. The last one I did was called The Granville Train Disaster, um, which was based, which was about the one of Australia's worst rail disasters in 1977. And my new book is a work of fiction, which is called From the Depths.
Wow, what a title is that. All right, and how you were able to do all of this work? Several books already, and then right now the last one. And when I've read a little bit of the abstract, you say that we are the monsters.
Yeah, well,
What a revelation.
well, I think, it's funny. I think that in the media, sharks have been labeled as monsters for a long time. I think that, you know, people fear sharks, and rightfully so to a certain degree. However, I think they should be respected as well. And I think that over the last few years, there's been a lot of shark culling going on, a lot of sharks being killed needlessly. I mean, they're basically being stripped of their fins and their bodies dumped in the bottom of the sea, and that's terrible, and I think it is a monstrous act. I think it's interesting also when you compare to humans that the amount of damage that we've as humans have done to the world ourselves. I think that's far more monstrous than any damage that sharks have ever done. So I wanted to write a book that sort of addresses that, but be a fun sort of horror story as well, and have a sort of twisted uh, adventure story in there as well. But I am
Yes.
very sensitive about the issue of sharks, though. I do think that they've been wrongfully branded monsters, and I think humans are just as capable of being monsters.
Okay, I understand and I respect that sensitivity, but we are advertising ourselves that we are very kind human being, human rights, everything nice, and we are the greatest ever in the world. And then you are giving us totally the opposite.
I don't think humans. I don't think humans are as wonderful as they say they are. I mean, yes, we've accomplished some great things, but I think we're always. I mean, for example, we know more about about space than we do about our own ocean. Now, that's scientific fact. We And that proves that humans are more focused on going up than looking out and exploring our own world and our own potential. I think humans have made giant leaps as far as evolution goes, but there's a lot that we haven't done. And I think that there's a lot of violence in the world, there's a lot of corruption, protesting, riots in the streets, people getting hurt, people getting killed, all of that sort of stuff. And yet, you know, the world leaders say that you know, we're a wonderful society and we're wonderful people, but we are very held back. I think there's a lot humans still have to learn, not just about the ocean, but about ourselves as well.
So what's the solution to this tragic and to this tarnishing image that you are creating of the human being thinking ourselves, ideals? What your solution to this?
Well, I think humans just need to listen more. I think I've spoken to people on Facebook in sea life um, pages, for example, and some of the things that people have been posting about sharks being unfairly branded and as monsters and being slaughtered for their fins, which when you think about it, is quite gruesome. That's quite a tragic act. Just to strip an animal of its fins and dump its body into the water, I think that's terrible. I mean, it's terrifying that humans are capable of such acts. I think we need to be more sensitive about the world around us and look after it, because I mean, sharks are very important to the ecosystem of the ocean. If there's no sharks, then you know eventually there's going to be no ocean, and that will affect climate change quite dramatically. So I think we really need to sort of be sensitive and keep our eyes and ears open about the world and look after it while it's here, because one day it's going to be gone.
But we still have a long way to go and a very hard exercise, because what you are preaching is great, that we have to take care of the animals and the oceans and the shark and even respect some of their right as well. But people will tell you, you have gone so far, we are still not even respecting human being rights.
Exactly.
Totally how far you are going for us to respect the rights of animals and the shark in the ocean. It's important to think of that environmental reference as environmental rights for
Absolutely.
even the coming generation. But the people will tell you, you have gone too far. We have still a great work still ahead of us before. Do you think that is a preliminary stage of creativity, going so far too fast ahead of the rest of the globe?
Well, I think that some countries have taken climate change very seriously, but I don't think it's just a matter of looking after the ocean. I think it's a matter of looking after each other as well. I think that particularly now, the state of the world it's in with COVID-19 and all the tragedy that's around that, I mean, in Melbourne, we're in lockdown, you know, we're still in lockdown, and, you know, there's people that literally don't get to go out anymore. They don't get to go clubbing. They don't get to party. They don't. So they're at home, and you know the suicide rate goes up. The stress increases. People have more cases of domestic violence and family abuse. And the reality is, I think that we really need to pull together and try to our best to function as one and be unified as much as we can. And protect each other, protect the world around us, and try not to destroy ourselves, each other, or the world around us.
Thank you so much for that call for unity and solidarity in the world today, especially in this tragic, challenging time that we are going through, as you refer to. But even in this challenging time, for authors and writers and trainers and inspiring leaders and speakers, we can make the best use of technology. We can make the best use of those individual, silent, isolated moments to turn our desperation into a motivational and creational act.
Absolutely. I
So
think now is the time to embrace technology and use it to our advantage. I mean, what we're doing now, you and me, I mean, this is taking advantage of technology and using it for a good purpose.
exactly. So I used to joke with my friends, so I'm just one click away. There's no space in this world. No matter where you are, and I tell people, hello, I would like to talk to you no matter where you are, or no matter who you are, where you are in the world, because for me, it's just one click away.
Yeah,
I don't feel
exactly.
the distance. I
It's
don't
that easy.
feel the space anymore. I just need three things. You have a talent, you have a few moments, and you speak English, and you know how to use your computer, and we are done.
Exactly. And I love technology. I mean, you can talk to someone over the other side of the world, and you know,
Exactly.
once upon a time it was science fiction. Now you can do it on your phone. You know.
Exactly, exactly. Especially in some places they were calling the internet like a magic box. It takes a long time for so many people to believe it. They say, no, don't tell me about the email. Don't tell me about video conference. This is just a joke. I don't believe it. Right now, they believe
Yeah,
it. And some of those who don't believe it right now, they cannot even go or leave without it. They say,
that's right.
yeah,
That's
day
right.
and night they are on the internet. And as you said, most of the time for the wrong reason,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
tell me, how do you think of yourself as an inspiring leader, and what we can learn from your successful journey to share with the world, please, Daniel?
Well, I don't really think of myself as a leader, but
I like that.
but I certainly do encourage anyone that's got a dream to follow it, follow their heart. If you want to write a book, write it. Don't wait. Write it now. Like today's the day. If you want to go and make movies, go out and make them. You know, the longer you wait to do so, I waited 15 years just to write another book, but I knew it was coming. I knew I would do it, and next year it'll be out. But if you don't seize the moment, um, you'll be wishing you did.
Great.
It's that simple.
How to use a moment. For example, I talked to this a little bit in one of my last edition. I say I learned this from one of my quotation that I forgot, but it's good. I forgot the source and to give a credit to it. But it was so nice. I'm still remembering it. They say yesterday is history. Tomorrow is a mystery. The best moment we have is now. We never know when it's going to return, or whenever we are going to miss it. And someday even dramatize a little bit by saying, be nice with the people. You don't know whether you are going to see them again. Could be your
You
last
never
show.
know.
Yeah,
You
it could
never
be the
know
last
exactly.
moment. It could be the last word. So it has to be nice.
Live life to the fullest and live it like it's your any minute be your last. Because you never know when it's going to be taken from you. You never know when your number's going to be up. And if you get to that point and you realize that you haven't done anything in your life, you know, you're going to be full of regrets.
Great. Okay, you refer to a dream, how to realize your dream, and how do you think that you really have a dream and you feel it, you work on it, and then you turn it into reality? How you go after your passion in a very desired way. You feel this is what I want and I must do it, and I will have no rest, no sleep until I make it. Day or night, no matter what are the challenge, I'm there, I'm going for it.
Absolutely. Just push onward. Never give up.
Okay, so
That's,
what are your magic that you were using not to give up for keeping pushing? What are some of those techniques and working tools that you would like to share with us, please?
um, well, I've got a head full of ideas. Like the engine is always on; it never stops.
Great.
Um, so that's a big motivator to me. And also, I've got a little boy. He's 5 years old, and I want him to look up to me one day. I want to earn the look in his eyes. You know, I want him to look at me and say, "Wow, my dad really did something amazing." And I think if you find a way to leave a mark on the world that exists long after you're gone, it's something special, and it's something your children have, and um, it's something they can always treasure and be proud of you for. And I like that. I like the idea of leaving something behind when I leave this world.
And what's the mark that you want to leave behind, or the legacy that you like to leave after you, after a century? We will need you for another at least 100 years of edition and a publication and so on, and writing and publishing. But what is the mark you like to leave
Well,
behind you? Yes, please.
I, I want to be known as an author, and I want to be known as an entertainer. I want to be known as a producer. I want people to remember some of the contributions I made to the world, whether they're good contributions or bad contributions. I prefer them all to be good contributions. When I wrote the Granville train disaster, I knew I was doing something very special because it meant a lot to a lot of people. A lot of people died during the Granville train disaster, and I really believed while I was writing it and interviewing survivors and rescuers that I was making a difference. And that was my only non-fiction book. Everything else I've done has been fiction. But I'm glad I did that, because that is a true testament to the people of Granville, and it's always out there. You can go to the libraries here and see it. You know, it's always going to be there, and it fills me with hope.
You have already have done a great contribution to the world. You have already contributed 7 books. You are a writer, you are an entertainer, you are an artist, you are a producer. How you were able to cope doing all of this different talent at the same time, and you still call yourself just call me Dan or Daniel or just Dan. How simple you are, how modest you are. What kind of modesty here, and humble character that you are teaching. Is that because of the camera, or that's the way you do it every day?
That's the way I've always been, to be honest.
I'm just joking. I know. I'm just joking and dramatizing a little bit. Yeah. I see how humble and how great you are, despite all your contribution. You just feel like you are doing nothing. And you say, even my little contributions, some of them could be wrong, could be them bad, but I'm glad that I've done something.
Yeah, it's all about just carving away for the future. And I mean, once I leave the world, you know, I mean, I hope I never do, but I will eventually, of course. But like, you know, when I do, I know that I've left something behind. And you know, even if it is a few horror novels and a book about a train disaster, it's great, you know, because I think also at the moment, one of the reasons I was so drawn to doing fiction was that I think the world's seen enough reality lately. I think we've had a year full of reality, and we've had a gut full of it. You know, it's time for some fiction. It's time for some storytelling. It's time for some rejuvenation and regrowth and creativity. And I think that we're going to see a lot of creativity come out of this epidemic, which is really positive.
That's great. Thank you so much for that positive notes there. Okay, tell me about your side, your writing personality, how you struggle with writing. I remember somewhere, sometimes that we have learned at the university, or that they say the key to writing is reading. If you want to be an excellent writer, you must be an
Absolutely.
avid reader. And if you want to be an excellent speaker, you must be an excellent listener. How true that is compared to your
Absolutely,
great
I agree.
experience in writing.
The more you always read, if you want to write, you have to read. It's crucial. It increases your vocabulary. It opens your mind to new possibilities, and it expands your thought process. It's a really great, and it's relaxing and therapeutic too. Like, I love reading. I love Stephen King. I love Peter Benchley. I love Steve Alton. I love Michael Crichton. There's a lot of authors I read, and I think they were all fantastic. But I really believe that when you're writing, reading is crucial, and you know, don't stop. Just keep reading, even when you are writing.
Great.
Because Yeah, it's great to learn new words too.
It's a new world too, new chapters. It's like we say, reading is like traveling. It's an open book. It's never end. So you learn
Yeah.
from that traveling book what you will never learn from any university in the world. So how many books you read a month, please?
Oh boy. Well, I read pretty much. I think it was about 5 of Stephen King's Dark Tower books. I think a couple of years ago. I read them all in one year. Not all 8 of the books, but the first 5. And I just couldn't put it down because Stephen King's just it's amazing when you read his, and they're the kind of books that I would love to write too. I mean, the kind of book where the cover's great and the cover pulls you in, but once you pick that book up and open it, you can't put it down. That's what I really want to do with my writing.
So what is your favorite author right now?
Uh, Probably Stephen King.
Oh, great. So I have this expression in mind saying that write the book you want to read.
Yes.
Okay.
If you're
That's
not going to, if you don't want to, it's the same with the cover design. If the cover doesn't pull the author in, it's not going to pull anyone else in. I mean, I designed a cover recently and I thought, yes, if I saw it in a bookshop, that's when I'd buy it because I know what I like. And it's not always about what everybody else likes, but if you like something and you're passionate about it and you write about it like you know what you're talking about, people will buy it and people will want to read it and they will enjoy it.
great. That's really great. Okay. So right now, do you have an idea of how many books you have read so far? Just roughly speaking, please.
Well, probably over 30.
Over 30?
Yeah.
Over 30 in just this month or last month?
Oh, no, in the last 2 years, I'd say.
Oh, 2 years, you have read 30 books.
Yeah.
And you remember those books that you have read?
Most of them, yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
the good
yeah.
ones stuck out.
Okay.
Like I read E.L. James's 50 Shades of Grey, but I didn't retain too much of it, to be honest.
Thank you so much for your honesty. I appreciate that.
I read Michael Crichton's Jurassic Park, loved it. I thought it was better than the movie. Yeah, I've read a lot of books, a lot of really good stuff. Stephen King books. I love The Dark Tower. I love Doctor Sleep. I love It. Yeah, all those sorts of stories are really good, and they're fun reads too because Stephen King's quite humorous when he writes. So it's fun when the author's got a good sense of humor.
Great. Did they influence you, your thinking, your writing style, or do you find still find them maybe in your dream or in your writing, you still memorize or remember certain memorable line that you quote sometime you use in fiction or non-fiction writing as well?
I think I get inspiration from everywhere, to be honest. I mean, I don't. I mean, this book basically came from me sitting at the beach one day. Like that's all it took. Like just sitting at the beach, I found a starfish, in the water, and it was a magical moment.
Wow.
And I thought I've got to do something. I've got to write something. It just inspired me so much. But ideas come from everywhere. I've seen just about every shark movie that's come out.
Wow.
Like Jaws, Deep Blue Sea, 47 Meters Down, all those movies. I love them all. But there was always a point where I thought, yeah, they really could have done this better, or they could have gone this way instead. It would have been so cool or so creepy. So I always sort of thought, well, if I ever write a shark story, it's going to be the shark story I want to see. If it's
Great.
made into a
And
movie.
great. And how many pages is this shark story book, the latest one?
The latest one, well, it's not finished yet, but
Okay.
it's shaping up to be quite a big novel.
Okay, right now, how many pages you are on?
40 something, 45, which is a
40.
pretty good start. I started
Oh,
I started a few weeks ago. actually a week or two ago, actually writing it down. But these are A4 pages too, not A5 yet. I'm writing a full manuscript.
Okay, and this 40 pages, you have written it if only one day on the beach while looking at the shark?
Well, it wasn't a shark, it was a starfish, but yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It came from that. But basically, I get ideas and then I get characters, and then the story sort of grows out of that. I never know what's going to happen in the end.
Wow.
But that's one of the things I love about it, because when I get to the end, I'm surprised
Oh,
how it ends.
you be surprised before you surprise the others. So you surprise
Yeah,
yourself first.
that's right.
But great. Yeah, great. So you are just following the characters for the time being. So you are enjoying following them and giving them their total liberty to act and to sound whatever, however they want.
Yeah,
Oh, great.
giving them depth and a bit of story and a bit of structure and exploring the possibilities of the story at the moment. And I've got so many ideas. It's not funny. Like when I am writing, I'm writing a lot. So, and I'm writing the whole thing on my phone too. I have a word processor in my phone, and I literally write this thing with one finger. So
Wow.
it's been an interesting experience. I've never written a book like this before, in that way. But I have Microsoft Word on my phone, and that's how I'm doing it this time. I thought, why not? Let's give it a try. It takes a bit more time, but I think I'm going to be proud of myself when I finish it.
Oh, great. So normally when you are writing, you write your notes first and then you edit them and you type them, or just you start typing on the software, and then when you are done and get a rest, you get back to edit, or you just keep on until you finish your chapter and you edit it final. Which is your favorite way?
I just keep going until I've finished the chapter. Yeah.
You write it by your hands first, or you just go to the screen
No,
and
no,
start
no.
typing?
Straight on
Straight typing. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay. I see.
typing straight away. I
Okay.
used to write first.
Mm-hmm.
I did write a book once where I wrote the whole thing in a notebook, and then decided, oh, I'm going to type this, and then all of a sudden, a few months after that, I was saying, I'm going to publish this. So,
Great.
yeah.
All right. So for example, when you think of writing a theme, do you start reading before it, or as it comes to your mind, like the last chance, you just start writing?
I just start writing because I don't
Wow.
like to be inspired by anything at first. I don't want any other things rubbing off on me. Like if uh, I don't like outside sort of influences at first, because the story is still young and it needs to grow and it needs to evolve. So, but eventually it blossoms, and yeah, the story pretty much tells itself after a while. It just literally comes out.
You don't want to go in the shadow of any other authors or to be influenced by anyone. You just want total creativity, total authenticity of your own creativity going on. And you keep growing and writing. Yeah, that's your style. Okay, of writing. That's great. Thank you so much. Okay, this about reading, it remind me of a great American expert that I've met in New York. And it was, I'm coming from background where people like this title, university, professor, doctors, blah, blah, and that's none stuff, kind of stuff and nonsense. And I told him, the expert, how many university degree you have? He told me, to surprise you, none. I said, what? You are telling me that you are educating the world and you are selling books and you are coaching president, ministers, VIP, and you have no degree? He told me, absolutely no degree. I told him, how come? Say, just coming from reading. I told him, you are telling me that you are expert in communication and you have no degree in communication, no university degree at all, and you are coaching VIP. Say, yes. I've spent long time and long period of my time on reading books. And I've read 10,000 books on communication. And then I think of myself as an expert and I've started selling my expertise. which is just the outcome of my reading. So how
Yeah.
practical what that is.
Well, I never went to
if I know
university
this,
either.
I would not go. Well, if I know this, I would not lose 20 years to go of going to the public university, doing non-public whatever general education for nothing. Maybe 1-2 years I will be able to just take one field, start reading it, and then be expert in that field and start practicing.
I never went to university or college or anything like that. In fact, I dropped out of high school.
Wow.
I failed English at school. I was shocking at school. I was constantly bullied and harassed, and I just couldn't concentrate at school. But when I left school years later, I studied film screenplays, and one of the writers that I studied was Quentin Tarantino, and the way he writes scripts with that rapid fire dialogue, and I was just enthralled, and I thought that's it. That's what I want to do. I want to be a writer. So essentially, Quentin Tarantino was my inspiration for getting into writing in the first place, because I would literally buy his published scripts from the bookstore and just read them. I'd seen the movies, but I wanted to know how he wrote the script, and I wanted to know how he wrote the direction, and I wanted to understand writing. And originally I did want to be a screenwriter, but I thought writing books would give me a lot more freedom.
So you were educating yourself. You were not going to the university either, and you have no university degree, and you were just educating yourself through reading books and watching movies. Wow.
Absolutely, yeah.
What a genius and a brilliant brain you are. That's really amazing to know. Wow. That's an inspirational story, I'm telling you. That's great. Yeah, really great. Because I never know that can happen in Australia too, that people bullying you or disturbing your education when you are so young at a high school, and then you lose your concentration and lack of willingness to go beyond the high school to complete your college or university studies. And then when you drop out, you say, no, there's something I can do. You decide to be a writer and you start writing. How long it takes you from the moment you decided to be a published writer, starting on that dream until you come to the end to see it realized in getting your first book published in hand?
Probably took about 7 years.
7 years?
Yeah.
That's nothing. We have lost 22 years at the university doing nothing, not writing anything.
Exactly. And a lot of people say that university is a bit like that. You know, you go there, you spend, months with people telling you how to write or telling you how to do this and how to do that. But in the end, a writer shouldn't be led. A writer should be a leader. I really think that the writer's not the sheep, he's the shepherd. And you can't really be a good storyteller if you're following the rules either. You've got to be willing to break rules. You've got to be willing to break out of the circle.
I like that.
That's right.
Yeah, that's great. And that what makes writing is a form of liberate your mind.
Absolutely. It's an ultimate expression of freedom.
Yeah. And then you leave yourself express whatever comes to your mind. You feel that liberation too, and you get liberated while you are writing. And you break the rule, no matter what they are. We tell you in science, there's fiction, there's no rule. The good thing in fiction, it's only imagination. And the world is limited by your imagination. So imagine how, whatever it is, and just defend your imagination.
That's right. And you know what? If you can think it, you can do it. Like it works. It doesn't just work in the world of fiction. It works in reality. If you can think it, you can do it. If you think that you can be something, you can be it. It's that simple. You just have to make it happen.
That's great. That's what I like about being an independent journalist, because I was working with at a national level, and then I went to international media. And then I hate this because they are deciding the kind of story And when you do the story, they will edit it. When you do the interview, they will say, no, we cannot pass this because it is not within the editorial line. And then you feel that you are enslaved by others. At least
Absolutely.
when you do your own show, you give space to whatever you want, and you cover whatever kind of story you like and air it freely in the most liberated form. And you give justice to these people who are giving you their time, sharing their expertise, and then you are sharing this with the world without any edit, without any change, just as it is.
Yeah, and I applaud you, man. I mean, seriously, it's wonderful. What you're doing, I think it's great. You know, you're probably getting ideas and stories and hearing things that a lot of these journalists and other people in the, you know, in the corporate world wouldn't normally get to hear.
Exactly, that's what I like, to cover the uncovered. And you cannot believe me, for example, when I tell you that I'm coming from nowhere. I was born under a desert, in a desert tent, coming from nowhere. Spent 20 years of general education in different languages, and then decided one day that I want to read, learn, write, and speak English and make it my first work language. And starting from there, people are saying, no, this is nonsense. Right now, still not believing it. I'm still working on it. Okay, one day it will be okay.
But the thing is, dreams are what motivate people. I think you have to dream, and if you dare to dream, you will achieve, as long as you follow it through.
And that's remind us of the big title of the book that was written by Obama, The Audacity of Hope. So you are calling to that audacity, having that courageous. Yes, yeah, people, yeah, we are shy of, there's a problem of self-esteem. And unless you believe yourself, no one is going to believe you.
That's right. You have to see the beauty within. You have to, if you don't have confidence, if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else will.
It's your exercise. It's your homework. You have to do it first.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so Mr. Daniel, what is your advice for young writers, how they should strive and struggle to achieve their dream of writing one day their own book or novel or story, or whatever the writing style or form of writing they would like to go after, please? Based on your experience, yes.
I would say never give up. And if you have an idea in your head, write it down. Don't worry if people say it's stupid. Don't worry if people criticize or bully you or call you a nerd, because one day they're going to be laughing on the other side of their faces. Dreams are only dreams if they're, you know, not realized. You have to bring a dream to life. So I'd encourage any young writers to never give up. Never give up on their dreams, and see it through. Bring it to life. We're given these gifts for a reason. We have to share them with the world. That's what it's all about. And that's what it's been about since the dawn of time.
Great. Mr. Daniel, as an Australian author who were able to educate himself when he was dropped from high school, what is the most beautiful part of this writing and editing and publishing book?
Well, I think, to be honest, it's two things. One is the fulfillment that I've made an impression on the world, and I've put something out there and shared it with people that was on my mind and bugging me. Now I can bug other people.
Great.
But the other thing is that I enjoy when people read my book and tell me how much they love it and how excited it makes them, and it even inspires them sometimes to write their own stories. And when people say that I've inspired them, that motivates me.
Great. Yeah, it is motivating, really, indeed. And what is the most difficult part in this writing experience?
Writer's block.
Yeah, that's empty page.
Yeah,
That screen crying in your face. That's a difficult moment, that lack of sleeping. You were in the WC and you have an idea, you start writing, running to write it. You are sleeping, you wake up at the night, say, no, I got an idea, let me write it. And then you were
Yeah.
exercising and working or traveling or in the metro or public transportation. Oh, another idea. Then you didn't get any paper. Then you talk to yourself like crazy, and then you record it on your mobile phone. That's all a
Oh,
part of writing.
yeah, it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare, but it exists. It's very real, and it can be overcome too if you're patient. I mean, writer's block comes, but it doesn't last forever. Something will always trigger a inspiration or a stroke of imagination. It'll bring it. Something always brings it back. You've just got to sort of sit through it, and it doesn't happen to me very often anymore. Probably because I haven't actually written a book in so long. But now I'm writing again. It just keeps coming and coming and coming. But I remember years ago when I was having writer's block very often, and it was exhausting. It was depressing, and I didn't know what to do with myself. But it does pass.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so much. How do you do about the review, the publication, the marketing side, signing off, especially in this terrible period of time? So how do you do the sale? All of it online right now, or you print, or you go, you share it, ebook, or what are your tricks? And yes.
My original books, when I first started writing, I was writing books that were around, they were short. They were short books. And I think the biggest was like 150 pages. And I was literally, I had a friend that worked at a printer. I used to work for a printing press, and I got fired. But months later, I went, I ran into them in the shopping center. I told them I was writing books down. They said, look, why don't you bring your books to us and we'll print them for you? And I thought, oh, okay, great. And they gave me a discount and everything. So I was printing my own books, and then I was selling them door to door.
Wow.
Literally knocking on doors like a like a traveling salesman.
Wow.
But they were selling, and I was happy with that. But as time went by, I thought, no, I really need to get a publisher. But with the Granville train disaster, I was paid $1,500 to write it, and basically they took care of all that for me, the printing and the ISBN and all that sort of stuff. These days, we're in a digital age, and I've decided to go with Amazon and doing the publishing on Amazon. It won't be out until next year, but the key with promoting a book is marketing. I mean, and that is something I'm getting very good at. Advertising the book, you know, a year before it comes out. There's nothing wrong with that. Even if you haven't finished it yet, get it out there. Sell the book before it's even been finished, because when it does end up on Amazon, everyone will want a copy. And I really think the secret of that is early promotion, early marketing.
But people would say that we are crazy to sell something that we don't have yet.
Well, maybe, but you know, I think with writing, I mean, you know, you're going to write it. You know, the story's going to be finished. In my case, anyway, because I've written other books. So I'm not really worried about that. I'm 100% sure that my book will be out next Christmas at the very latest.
Okay, great. For example, how do you choose your theme, and how do you work on them? Do you research them, or do you write them based on your own personal experience, or based on your finding and research and reading from other inspiring resources and great international bestsellers?
Well, this book's actually got a lot of scientific fact in it, so I had to do a lot of research. I didn't know half as much about sharks as I do now. I didn't know that a great white shark had 300 teeth. I had no idea. I didn't know that they were always losing teeth and then regrowing teeth, whereas humans only have one set or two sets of teeth. They have the milk teeth and the adult teeth. But I thought that was fascinating. Things like that pulled me into the research. And I also thought that a book like this would be much more, it would have more merit to it if there was a bit of scientific fact to it. And also the horror stories about fishermen in Japan that have literally slaughtered sharks just for their fins to make shark fin soup. I thought, that's terrifying, and so a lot of research was crucial with this book and the Granville book that I did as well, the Granville Train Disaster. Obviously, I was researching all the time. I had my handheld cassette voice recorder and I was literally interviewing survivors and rescuers. So there was a lot of research there too.
And for example, when you publish generally your book, do you go to the media yourself, or do you give it to promoting agency to promote it, or how you go about it?
Well, it sort of depends. I mean, sometimes they come to you, sometimes you have to go to them, but more often than not, when you go to them, the doors are closed in your face. So it is tricky getting published. A lot of publishers won't accept unsolicited manuscripts, which means you've got to have an agent. And a lot of the agents won't accept people that have been published. So it's a catch-22. It's not easy getting published, but if you persevere and also promote your work a lot, it catches, especially on social media and things like that, it does catch people's eyes, and eventually someone picks it up, grab it, especially if it's good enough.
Okay, especially that's indie authors right now. It's like a mode of the time being, and ebooks are making it easier too, and a lot of platform of sharing and online publication make it easier as well. So just to advise us about how to be a successful writer, what are your tips and working tools? Like 1, 2, 3, 4.
I would say have a great story in your mind. Know your characters. Know what the book's going to be about. I would say don't wait until you finish the book to promote it, because the longer you leave it, the harder it gets. Promote it as soon as you can, especially if you know what it's about and you have a good enough story. And also persevere when you get stuck. Never give up. Just keep going back to it.
Great, thank you so much for that. And what is your final word that you would like to share with the world?
I think at the moment the world's in, going through a lot, and it's a very difficult time for everybody. But I think if we're all there for each other and we all look out for each other, we'll get through this, and we'll all meet up in the end.
How we can overcome all of this challenging time that we are going through right now?
I think patience is key,
Mm-hmm.
but also supporting each other, supporting your friends, supporting your neighbours. Even if you can't go and visit them, ring them, see how they are. Let them know that you care, and look out for your family and care about each other. And yeah.
Thank you so much for that. Mr. Daniel, if there is a question that I didn't ask and you think that is important and you like to answer it without even being asked it.
Okay, what's that?
Guess it at you. I'm giving you the choice to ask yourself about anything that I didn't ask you about, but you feel that it's interesting, and then we have to bring it to the table.
Boy, you covered so much ground. I honestly can't think of anything I've missed.
Okay.
I would like to do movies, I think, in time. I would like to do film. I would definitely like to write a screenplay or direct a movie. I've always wanted to direct a movie. Always had I used to watch documentaries about Steven Spielberg and George Lucas and just watch how they made movies. I was fascinated by documentaries. I love watching featurettes and that sort of thing. And I kind of used it, special features, as my film score. So I would like to do a movie one day, or write a screenplay. I think that would be very fulfilling, and I just love to see what it would be like to work in that medium.
So you never stop. When you finish a dream, you realize it, you go for another dream. When you succeed in a story or a publication, you go for another successful journey and story. If you don't want to stop, right now, from writing to going to writing screen and going to the cinema as well.
That's right. Yeah, I just want to keep going and keep coming up with new ideas, sing, dance, write, act, do all this sort of stuff. It's great for the mind and it's great for the body and soul.
Great. Do you have like a special coach or mentor, or you are just coaching and mentoring yourself, doing it all yourself, as you have educated yourself as well?
I'm pretty much doing it all myself.
So you are the one-man show, the whole team.
Yeah, one-man show. Yeah.
A whole team. And it's a great show that you are leading. Yeah, I like it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, last word, please. Yeah, because every time when I say last word, you tell me a nice story and I forget that we were talking about the last word, the last question. And that's the beauty of this open discussion. And yeah, that we can say anything and nobody can intervene and say, no, stop that, don't leave that, no, this should be eliminated or cut or edited. No. We are really liberating our brain. Using it as a therapy even. Yes.
I think so what do you do with these interviews?
I will publish. I will just look at it. If there's a lot of mistakes, then I will correct it, and then I will publish it online, and I will share it with the world. It would go on social media. It will go on everything, and then I will share it in my network, and I will give you a link to share with your network, and that we take it from there.
Great.
Until we meet again in a different project, whether you're in a cinema project or another book or publication or whatever. And when you have a nice story, never hesitate to contact me. As I told you, I'm just one click away.
Next time you see me, I could, have long hair and be doing movies or something. You never know.
Okay, that's great. That's a part of creativity.
Yeah, I did a TV show. I was an extra in an Australian show called Packed to the Rafters.
Wow.
And I did a short film called Complex that I worked with a friend of mine in, and I had to be nude in the whole thing, and that was very strange and very unusual, but it was an extremely fulfilling experience working on that kind of film, like an art film. It was very interesting and unusual. And it was just about two flatmates, and one of them happened to be a nudist. And I just thought it was a great story. And I thought, imagine the arguments they'd have, and the mind boggles about all the sorts of problems that they'd have. And I met the filmmaker, and he was happy. He wanted me to be in the starring role, and I was very happy to do that. And all my friends went and saw it at the cinema. They had a one-night only screening.
Great.
at a Dendy movie theater, and I didn't get to go, but I could just imagine how it would have been. And it was amazing. Apparently, it got a round of applause at the end. I was very happy to hear that it went well.
Thank you so much, Dan. Really appreciate your great expertise and your time. I think that we have covered it all. Well, until we meet again, wishing you the very best. You wish.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it was good to meet you.
My pleasure.